Hey, what's good? What it do? Why is my head so damn big? And minimize that a little bit. All right, there we go. That's a little better. That's a little better. What it do? What it do, guys? Royal Rolls, as y'all already know. Y'all already know who the fuck I am. Uh, what's good? Welcome to Royal Rolls Speaks or Royal Speaks. I've got a couple of videos I was going to show you here today. The videos I planned on showing you here today are a video of Candace Owens and a video of Barron Colemen. They are two creators. Obviously, you guys probably know Candace Owens. Barron Colemen is also a creator. What Barron Colemen does, I'm going to give you a little take on what he does. What he does is he actually searches Google Trend searches. And by doing that, he finds out what's being searched and where it's being searched from. So, in the midst of doing that, what he has uncovered is actually some pretty crazy things that I find intriguing and interesting, uh, especially around the Charlie Kirk murder. And the things that he's been finding to me, I think are pretty wild, especially since these searches were from before Charlie was murdered. And the things that he's searching shouldn't have even been known about until after Charlie's murder. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into that video a little bit here. Let me get it loaded up for you on the screen. Share screen, window. There we go. Audio. Well, hold on. I'm just gonna play it through the speakers, not through my earbuds. We'll go ahead and get it in here. I can't hear you. Your father's in my ears. All right, so I'm gonna let me hide the chat overlay for this. What's good, Messy? What's good, Shroom? What's good, Carnage? Mom, Dee Dee, Steel, Toxic, whatever you want to go by. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure y'all hit the like, comment, and subscribe button as you come through if you haven't already. And I'm gonna go ahead and get into this. Again, this is Barron Coleman. Um, and he's probably going to explain to you guys here a little bit about what he does in the beginning of this video. I could skip forward it because this is a 2-hour video. We're not going to be live for 2 hours, so I'm going to skip through some different points. If you guys want to check him out, all you have to do is go YouTube, type in Barron Coleman. You'll find his channel. He does some very interesting searches. This isn't his only video. He has many videos. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it, and we'll see what's going on with it. Be helpful if I can hear. Hold up. I think I got the... unmute that. Yep, there we go.
Most of them, I think I might be able to say all of them originate from before Charlie Kirk was taken from this life, and they span the days, the weeks, and the months leading up to that
I think I got the
fateful day in Orem, Utah on September 10th. And what Google Trends does is, if you're not familiar with it, you missed the last couple of weeks. But if you're not familiar with it, what Google Trends does is it purports to reflect what searches were
Toxic. You looking for? Where am I hearing the echo? Where am I hearing the echo from? Are you guys getting the echo? Toxic. You looking for? Hold up. I think I know where it's coming from. Where am I hearing the echo from? Are you guys getting the echo? All right, give me 1 second. Hold up. Exit out of there. Let me fix this real quick. All right. Here we go. Now let me pull it back up here real quick. Why did it go straight back to the full screen? Craziness. Craziness. All right. Audio in. Hopefully we get it right this time. Sorry. All right. Here we go. All right. So let me get back into it.
conducted and where and when those searches were conducted.
And let me know what you guys think when you guys get into this. I'm just gonna let the beginning of this video play, and then I'm gonna kind of skip to the sections where he talks about what I'm really wanting to get into.
Take that at face value. I don't have access to the underlying data the results get, the support the results. And so I'll remind you what I've said the last couple of weeks. I draw no conclusions from what I find. I draw no conclusions from what I choose to present here. I cannot present everything I found. It's too numerous, too voluminous. It would take so many hours. You wouldn't watch it, and I wouldn't do it. But what I am doing is presenting to you what appears to be fact, what appears in the Google Trends tool at the time I run the searches. I've noticed a pattern that sometimes the results change.
No, he's actually not my dad. My dad is my dad is passed, messy. So definitely not my dad, but nevertheless.
And because of that, I've run a series of tests, believe it or not. And I've gotten kind of detailed in how I document these. A test of search terms from other current news events outside of the.
And what I'm gonna speak on what he's going to tell you. Some of these searches that he finds, the ones that he goes on and puts on his stream, or he goes and he tells people in the media about, when he goes to relook for these terms, they then are gone. They're then gone. Like, why are they all of a sudden gone? But the ones that he doesn't tell people about seem to be there still. It's crazy, but he'll get into it.
Charlie Kirk event in Owens, Utah. And I noticed those terms don't tend to disappear, at least not nearly at the pace that the terms associated with Charlie Kirk's story tend to disappear after I cover them. So tonight I want to walk you through a couple of examples of current stories breaking in America, both in.
And the only reason why I wanted to bring Candace Owens on this video as well, because there's a date that he talks about in this video. I don't know if Candace Owens knows who he is or not, but there's a very coincidence in the date that she's talking about in the video I'm going to bring up of her. The dates are damn near the fucking same. And to me, it was kind of a little bit shocking, but we'll let it play out.
Involving the shocking use of violence, much like we saw with Charlie Kirk. And I want to share this for a couple reasons. One is to demonstrate, I guess, what it is that I do and how I do it when stories like these break, so that you can see what I'm doing and you can have confidence in what it is I present here. And another goal.
Carnage gonna get on you about that comment. Carnage gonna get on you about that comment right there, Messy.
Is to verify whether everything I cover disappears in the days.
I knew that was covered.
Week.
But we know she does like white men, particularly British, as her husband is a white Brit.
10 months. Nice.
Get your tinfoil cap on.
To verify if everything that I cover disappears after I cover. And again, I just want to clarify a couple of things. Google Trends searches that I have not discussed with other people, not friends, not family, that I just do on my own, and I haven't shared on this channel, they tend not to disappear. Google Trends searches I do share with others that we talk about, we trade text messages, and I cover on the channel, they have a bad habit of disappearing. And I'll leave it for you to decide what that means. But please know I'm tracking this in real time. Which ones I cover, which ones I share with other people, which ones disappear. And with that, let me take you to two horrific stories that have unfolded in the last 24 hours.
For an animal. Damn, Carnage.
Because I'll demonstrate what I do with these types of stories and how I
choke on that.
And after that, I'll show you close to 20 searches you have never seen relative to Charlie Kirk, and searches you didn't frankly think of. And I know you didn't think of them because on this channel, I asked you guys, give me some other search terms. I'll look them up right now live on air. And I got some suggestions. I did get some suggestions. But when I really started grinding the gears and talking with some friends, we came up with some additional search terms. And the results are shocking. Probably, I would say in some instances, vastly more shocking than anything we've covered today. vastly more shocking than anything that could. Did I get your text from earlier in the day?
All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Like I said, limited on time. Limited on a little bit of time. We're not gonna do two-hour videos. That's just not gonna happen. We're gonna try to consolidate these videos down a little bit.
Because that's where I get awfully suspicious with these.
Thomas Jacob Sanford, District of Columbia, March 18th, 2025, September 14th, 2025. Why? All right. Let him explain. We'll let him explain it.
Taking innocent lives in mass quantities.
We know who Thomas Jacob Stanford is, right? Messi, you should know that name. You should know that name. He brought up this name just to kind of give you guys an example of what he does and how he does it. Start it right at the beginning of that so that you guys can get it.
So I go to Thomas Jacob Stanford. That's the shooter's name, isn't it? I look.
That's the shooter that crashed his vehicle into a church and then shot the church up, if I'm not mistaken. That's who that is.
In the District of Columbia, because that's where I get awfully suspicious with these crazy shooters that appear out of nowhere.
But why was his name even being searched in the District of Columbia in May of 2018?
Innocent lives in mass quantities. If you'll notice here, Thomas Jacob Sanford was searched. This phrase was searched on a machine with an IP address originating in Washington, D.C. once the week of April 27th to May 3rd, 2025. And again, 3 weeks ago in Washington, D.C. Thomas Jacob Sanford in the District of Columbia, that's what you see up here, past 12 months. So I do the whole year just to get an idea. And I did this at 90 days, 30 days, 7 days, but this is the one I like. It's the whole year. You can see there's no random searches. Then all of a sudden one day where it pops up with some modest amount of searching. And then it goes away for a period of months. And then it pops up again a few weeks ago, Thomas Jacob Sanford. Now, I don't draw conclusions on what that means. And this dotted line here obviously is leading up to today where it just goes crazy.
Man, toxic.
I am not drawing conclusions on this program right now on what that means. But you think, well, that could be a coincidence. Yeah, it could. It could. What about Grand Blanc, Michigan? I mean, has anybody ever searched for Grand Blanc, Michigan? Yeah, as a matter of fact, they do. Because that's where the shooting took place. And you'll see right here a few weeks ago, if you remember, it was about the first week of September when Thomas James Sanford was being searched in Washington, D.C., in the District of Columbia, the actual district itself, not Maryland, not Virginia. And you got Grand Blanc, Michigan. But hey, people could be vacationing there. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot spot. So we drill down further. We go even further. How about the street address of the Mormon Church? How about the street address of the Mormon Church, which happens to be 4285 McCandless Road? Lest you think this is something that gets searched. Have you ever heard the word McCandless in your life? I have not. Today was the first. And lo and behold, in the past 7 days, September 24th, 2025, in the District of Columbia, a long way from Grand Blanc, Michigan. A long way from Grand Blanc, Michigan. Am I saying that right? Grand Blanc? It sounds like it should be Grand Blanc, like Perrier. We don't call it Perrier.
Right? All right, so I'm going to come through this section of it a little bit to get to the Charlie Kirk more stuff. Maybe see. Just because that's more what the video is about, I just wanted you to see kind of what he does. Let's see where he's at. Right?
Nigel Edge. You guys familiar with this one? And a Nigel Edge commit a highly premeditated attack on a North Carolina waterfront.
That was the guy that drove up to the bar on the boat in North Carolina and shot and killed 3 people. 5 people wounded, obviously, as it says. He does the search on that one as well. We want to go ahead and pass forward. through it. That one as well was searched in the District of Columbia before the incident happened, which is wild to me. Like, why do you search this person's name up, who is particularly a nobody, until the crime is committed, and then later in the year or later in the month, a crime then happens with that character? It's kind of crazy. But let's find to where we want to get to. Still talking about North Carolina.
Trend searches on YouTube. I mean, that's a conclusion you could draw, that they pop up on law enforcement radar, and somebody gets curious and says, wonder what the Google machine has to say about this. It's the same thing I do anytime I look at something. The very first resources I look at are Google. I have some other websites that are very trustworthy that I go to. It's how I found the address of Thomas James Sanford. It's how I found the address of Nigel Edge. Not Google, because Google is often not most up to date with respect
Google can be misleading on some things.
to current people's addresses. And I don't want to tell you what website I use for a very simple reason.
I want to continue using it. I want to continue using the website. I
don't want them taking it down.
It's free too.
I like to use it.
I wish that he would give that resource up, but he don't.
Actually shown this particular website that I use. I actually used to use a different source, and it wasn't as good. I was shown this one by a very good friend in law enforcement who said, hey, I want to show you something. Saying after Charlie Kirk was shot, the very first thing that happened, I was actually on the phone with a good friend of mine that I've known for a decade and a half or longer, maybe a long time now. I'm on the phone with him. We're discussing Kirk getting assassinated. Both of us just completely in shock. My friend actually knew him pretty well. And I mean, we're going through who could have done this. And I said, hey, they've arrested somebody. And we both pull up the pictures and we're looking at it. And they've arrested a little old man named George Zinn. You remember George Zinn? Not Z-Y-N like the nicotine pouches. Z-I-N, not Z-E-N like enlightenment and peace. No, we're talking Z-I-N-N, which I don't even know what that means. Apparently means wackadoodle. So I go and I search George Zinn. You can see.
What up, Stars? Toxic was looking for you.
Here where George Zinn was arrested, there's a little blip on September 10th in the District of Columbia. I'm assuming this is everybody racing to the computer to figure out who is the guy they just arrested. I don't know what this is. Maybe a few days later, people go. But look here, July 20th. Now, this July 20th is going to become very.
This is the date that I'm saying keep track of, as he's going to tell you as well, but it's conveniently going to show up in Candace Owens' video too.
Important tonight. The week around July 20th is going to become exceedingly important. And the amount of coincidences that take place between like a week before and a week after July 20th and all that time in between becomes very difficult to set aside, to disregard. So the fact that this was the first thing I looked up during this go around of searches, George Hodgson Zinn, that's the full name of the guy that they first arrested. You remember, this is the old guy who stands up within seconds of Charlie Kirk being assassinated. I did it. I shot him. And then as they're dragging him away, his pants fall down. He's like, shoot me. That's George Hodgson Zinn. And he was searched for this name.
The crazy thing about that guy as well, now, obviously, they got him arrested and then kept him arrested because of the child pornography that he had on his phone. But I think that was just what they're telling us. I'm not even sure. Maybe he did have that on his phone. Maybe he didn't. I think that they arrested him just to keep him off the streets so that he won't be talking to nobody else. I don't think they want this man talking, because this man was at the Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon bombing. He was at 9/11. This man has been at multiple events where a tragedy or something tragic has happened. So it's kind of crazy. That man could damn near do a video or a story on him by himself, just because just because of the convenience that he happens to be at all of these incidents. And is it a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe.
This term was searched, according to Google, with an IP address originating in the District of Columbia on July 21, 2025. And again, I tell you, keep the anchor date around July 20 in your mind tonight. Because after I did that, I thought, I wonder if anybody Googled the hospital where they took Charlie.
Yeah, toxic. I can't put that one up on the screen.
Wonder if anybody Googled the hospital where they took Charlie Kirk. They took him to Timpanogos Regional Hospital. That's there in the district. I mean, that's there in Utah. They have, I think, a campus in Orem, Utah. So I go District of Columbia. Here's where, again, on September 10th, 11th, right there, you see.
And again, I just want to iterate, while there's more people in here, I do not own the rights to this content. If you want to check out the content in its entirety, YouTube, type in the name, Barron Colemen. He'll pop up. He's got some very interesting videos that may surprise you. They may not. But to me, they're intriguing nonetheless.
The searches for Timpanogos Regional Hospital, people looking for where they took Charlie Kirk. But you'll see this spike of interest in Timpanogos Regional Hospital out of D.C., and then no interest for 2 solid months before the shooting. But again, keep in mind that July 20 anchor date. Here we have a July 16, 2025. And then we have a July 3, and we have a June 28. And if you go out 12 months, you'll notice you even had one back then, and then this all kind of goes out. So something's...
Hey. And we ain't having no minors having these weird conversations. Man, y'all trying to get me in trouble.
What's going on here at the Timpanogos Regional Hospital search? And then right the day before the shooting, somebody in the District of Columbia says, we should really make sure we know what the Timpanogos Regional Hospital is. We really should make sure we know the day before he gets shot. So you had that July 20 anchor date, the time around there. You had a time.
Now, these search engines, the searches he's talking about now, they are coming out of the District of Columbia. Obviously, we know that is Washington, D.C. So y'all can draw your conclusions from there.
That could be anything. And then the day before, somebody zeroes in and says, we need to look up Timpanogos Regional Hospital. Maybe they're looking up an address.
But the next few searches that we're going to get into that he does, a lot of them are going to be with an IP address that comes from Israel.
Maybe they're looking up. Who knows? But again, I'm just reporting the facts. I'm not drawing conclusions tonight. I could give you possible conclusions you could draw, and you could draw your own conclusion, or you could just sit back and look and learn like I did. Because after Timpanogos Regional Hospital, I thought, I wonder who the medical examiner is.
All right, conversations reaching a climax. We need to stop. I don't need to be like George Zen and going to jail for child stuff on my.
In Utah. I wonder who the medical examiner is in Utah, because it appears to me, based on everything I've looked at, that Charlie Kirk may not have had an autopsy, which I find shocking. Because an autopsy could give you a lot of things, such as what angle did the bullet come in? Where did the bullet go? What type of bullet was it? What damages were done to the organs? Were there any other injuries? And this is going to come up in a minute. Were there any other injuries anywhere else in the body? And so I wondered who the medical examiner was there in Utah. And I looked her up. She's a woman named Deidre Amaro. And she was looked up, but this time not in the District of Columbia, but in Israel, which I thought was very strange. June 30th of 2025. In Israel.
Why is Israel in June 30th of 2025 looking up who the medical examiner is in the city that Charlie gets murdered in months later.
June 30th, 2025, an IP address originating in Israel. Again, we talked last week about the ways IP addresses can end up somewhere. But Deirdre Amaro, the medical examiner there in Utah, somebody with an IP address originating in Israel decided they were very interested in Deirdre Amaro. And lest you think I didn't check, the reason I'm not showing you others, go to the District of Columbia, for example, not there. You can even go to Utah and see. Not there.
Nobody in the city of Utah or the state of Utah is looking up who the medical examiner is in Gorham or in Utah. But sure enough, Israel wants to fucking know.
So if it's not in the District of Columbia and it's not in Utah, this is not a very common search, is what I'm pointing out here. Not a very common search at all. But there it was in Israel. So I thought, that's weird. That's weird. So I press on. I wonder.
There was once a time, Messi, where Steele was in the Discord.
I'll skip that one.
Back when my channel had like 150 subs.
Oh, now I go. See if I can find him here. Guy named Bo Mason. You guys ever heard of Bo Mason? Bo Mason is the commissioner of the Utah Department of Public Safety. In other words, a high-ranking law enforcement official there in Utah. Bo Mason. Now, I noticed Bo Mason got a...
I haven't taken the link down. What are you talking about? I haven't taken the link down. Hold on, Messi. Let me see something. I'm trying to get the Discord loaded up on the computer right now so that I can share the link to the page. Because if I do it from here, it's going to kick me off the stream. So I'm going to share it. I just got to wait for Discord to load up. It doesn't even seem like it's trying to. All right, Toxic. All right. We don't need all that on here. This ain't a pornography channel. And it damn sure ain't for underminers. It damn sure ain't for minors. I don't know if Discord's gonna load up. I might have to do it. All right, I'll just do it see if I can do it from my spare phone. I don't know if I can. All right, so I copy link. Let me go on YouTube now and see if it'll let me post it in the comments. Paste. There. Did it share? It did not. It did not let me put the link up. Hold on. I'm gonna have to make my alternate account I'm gonna have to make my alternate account a moderator, I think, so that I can, in fact, share it. Because I don't think you can share a link on here unless you're a moderator. Hold on. Just give me 1 second, guys. We'll get right back to it. Switch accounts. Speaks. Channel. View channel. Live. Go in. It's not letting me in the stream. It's not letting me in the stream. Hold up. We'll do this. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Alright, switch. Log into this account. Go back into YouTube. Let me pull up my stream so that I can make my other account a moderator real quick so that I can share the link for the Discord. Live. Open up. All right. Go this account and mute this. I don't need it talking back. All right. So make my account, my secondary account, a moderator. All right. Save. All right. But before I do that, bye-bye, Cube. Eat shit. All right. Now, lower this. Go back to the stream. All right, stream's up. Yeah, Kirkish is gone. If he pops in on another channel, I will then again time him out again. Alrighty then. So I need to go back. All right, let's see if it lets me share the link. All right. Now the link should be coming through. There it is. All right. So there you go. Steel, you can now join with that link right there. All right. So now back to the video. I'm not going to keep it up in case dumbass Kurtisha tries to pop in. So Steel, let me know once you got it so I can get it back down.
Appointed to that position on July 17th. Again, that anchor right around July 20th. He was appointed a few weeks before that, and he took the role on July.
She can't join if I blocked her on Discord.
July 17th, replacing a guy named Jess something, Jess L something, who resigned. Can't remember it all off the top of my head. But again, District of Columbia, Bo Mason, right? You can say, hey, he's a law enforcement official. Notice how close.
Toxic Steel has been a part of my channel since literally like 100 subs. Better part of a year and a half almost.
That is to July 20th again. We got it right in that same window where I told you really watch that time period. Really watch that time period right around July 20th.
That date's popping back up. That date is popping back up. Stars, I already told you in the last stream that I blocked you on Discord. I already told you when you came in on the last stream. Shouldn't be a surprise today.
Something caused a lot of these searches to take place right in a very narrow band of time. But again, this one could be explained away as, hey, he got appointed the very next day. He got appointed on July 17th there in Utah. So maybe on July 16th, someone says, we need to look at who the new Department of Public Safety head is going to be in Utah. Maybe. Now I want to show you a very interesting story that I found and was just absolutely baffled by this story. This is a guy named John Colemen. Think of him what you will. A lot of people have strong opinions about him, but he's one of these what I used to call a Twitter terrorist, a guy who posts all the time on what's now called X, the new Platform X.
So now he's going to talk about, all right, so during Charlie's speech or during the event, a plane had come and flew over this event at damn near stall-like speeds and only 200 feet of height off the ground. Or probably from sea levels, I think how they measure it. But so like 200 feet above sea level, which is really fucking low and at a really slow speed right over the campus area. And they did it twice. But he's going to go ahead and talk about that now.
He discovered, or somebody pointed out to him, and he's really been covering it, that there was a plane, this plane here.
I mean, you can try if you want, Stars. Like I said, I don't think it's going to let you.
A Bombardier Global 6500 with the tail number November 1098 Lima. And on the day Charlie Kirk was died, it made two very interesting flights and deviations from flights. It had booked a flight, or it had flight plans from, I think, New Mexico to Montana, which would take it right near Orem, Utah, the site of the rally. This was not an unusual flight.
All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it now because it may become a question later. I do not believe that this is the plane that Candace is also going to be mentioning in her video. But I could be mistaken, but I do not think that this is that plane.
For this point. But on the day of the shooting, it actually dropped. This plane can go up to 51,000 feet cruising altitude. It's a U.S. spy plane, basically. And on the day,
and he said basically there, so I don't know if it actually is a U.S. spy plane or if it's just a spy plane or like a spy plane that the U.S. uses. I don't know, but he did reference it as like a U.S. spy plane.
The shooting, it comes all the way down to 203 or 204 feet off the deck, off the ground, and it's flying at nearly stall speed. The first time it did that, it was heading north on its path to Montana. It deviates from its flight plan. It comes down to from 30 to 50,000 feet in the air. It comes all the way down to 204 feet.
You see me, don't you? You see me, don't you? Noah commented it in the Discord, and then I seconded that comment.
And it flies within 2 miles of the campus of Utah Valley University at 204 feet. You know how...
You talking about Israel? You talking about when they attacked that ship off the coast of Israel in international waters? When they tried to sink a U.S. ship, killed many U.S. men. They shot at it with planes or jet fighters, and then they also came with a submarine and shot an underwater missile at it. They were trying to kill these U.S. men. Now, that was an intelligence boat. That was a boat meant for tracking intelligence. But at that time, Israel and U.S. were supposed to be allies. They flew over that boat 2-3 times to identify it before coming back a fourth and fifth time to actually try to sink this ship that they knew was a U.S. ship, that they knew was a U.S. ally of Israel's ship. They had their normal flag out to start off that voyage out there. A lot of people were sunbaking, from what I've heard, on like suntanning on the deck of the boat because they were out there not doing much. I also heard the old man that was on this boat say that they also requested for an aircraft carrier and other ships to assist them, and they were declined by the U.S. government, or the U.S. Army or Navy declined to send other vessels with this ship. They sent them out there on like a solo mission and didn't give them anything else. Israel comes and attacks them after identifying them multiple times. And then somehow, when this ship damn near should be sinking with a 35-foot hole in the side of it, They are finally managed to rig up some type of radio to try to get help. Now, when they did that, obviously it wasn't a radio that could only go to US. So Israel heard that call out as well. But they finally got a hold of somebody. Israel also heard that call out. Israel sends a helicopter. They come over. They drop a note on the deck. They drop a little basket down on the deck with a note in it saying, "Is there any casualties?" Knowing damn well that they just tried to sink this motherfucker. It's complete asinine. But I'm gonna go ahead and let him get in this story. I know that's what you're talking about, Carnage. That is a story I would love to cover on here sometime, Carnage. I've watched a lot of shit about that. I've heard a lot of the survivors that have been on. They're getting really up there in age, but we could do a video on that as well at some point.
Low that is in the air, 204 feet at nearly stall speed, like 113 knots or 118 knots. I can't remember. This right here says 129 knots where they picked it up. And then on the way back, and then it goes back up. And on the way back, 25 minutes after Kirk was assassinated, it comes back through the Orem, Utah area, back down to 203 or 204 feet, the exact same height it flew before, at nearly the exact same speed, 25 minutes after Kirk was assassinated. Nearly stall speed. A gust of wind could have knocked that plane out of the sky. And then it goes back up and on its way. Well, I thought, and remember this tail number here, N1098L, November 1098 Lima. So I think that's a weird thing. I mean, that's unusual. So let's look it up. Let's look up November 1098 Lima. And let's see, just for the sake of argument, is there anybody?
Yes, Messi, the attack on the U.S. Liberty was absolutely intentional. There's no way it's a mistake. Israel tried to claim that it was a grave mistake. Maybe if they didn't fly over that boat multiple times to identify it before bombing it, you could say that. But they literally identified that boat 2, 3, it may have been 4 times. I don't remember the exact number that he said in the old man that was on this boat said when he was talking about it. But 2 to 3 times they came over and were able to identify it. The boat has a normal flag that they normally, when they're out on the open water, that they're driving out on the open water, they have a normal flag. They put what they call their parade flag up, which is their biggest flag, hoping that, oh, all right, well, these are our allies. We can see the Star of David on these damn planes. They're flying low enough that they can see the Star of David on the side of the fucking plane. So they put their big flag up after seeing them fly over the first time. So when they come back for the second and third time, there's no mistaking the fact that they have a 35-foot fucking flag or 30-foot flag that they now hung. But like I said, we'll get into that story at some point on here. That is a fascinating story for people that don't know it. I would love to get into it and talk about it.
In the world who was curious about this plane at this time, and in fact, I did find somebody. If I can find the dadgum tab, I'll tell you who it was. What did I do with it?
I need you to do something.
Ah, there it is. That was supposed to be really quick and cool transition, and then it wasn't.
All right.
I found 1098.
I was going to fast forward.
November 1098 Lima. It was searched again out of Israel in the weeks leading up to the shooting. August 8th, a month and 2 days.
So yeah,
just shooting a month and 2 days before this plane does a very weird.
Just a month before this plane happens to go and fly over the Charlie Kirk shooting, Israel is searching the tail number of this plane. They are looking at this plane specifically, or let me reel it back. Someone with an IP address in Israel So whether someone's faking an IP address that's in the US and they're tagging it from Israel, or if it's someone legitimately in Israel, someone was looking up this damn plane. I don't care if it's in Israel or the US a month before the Charlie Kirk murder.
200-foot flyby of the campus at nearly stall speed. Now, we've learned since that this plane has the capacity to deploy drones.
Convenient.
I've seen news articles, I've seen videos. This plane, this jet, is a U.S. government contracted spy plane. It has the ability to deploy drones. Somebody with an IP address originating in Israel, and again, we talked about all the ways that can happen, took an interest in this particular tail number about 32 days before.
So, yeah, we got a little bit more of this video.
Maybe it's related, maybe it's not. So we press on. Do you remember the stink? One of the major things the left did as soon as Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I mean, his body wasn't even cool yet. And they're already blaming Donald Trump and Kash Patel for it because, well, they traded out the special agent in charge there in Salt Lake City like a bunch of cowboys. They just going around firing people. Well, maybe we look into that.
Yeah, so conveniently, the person he's talking about, law enforcement, was replaced just before.
Anyone in the world taking an interest in the old?
Yeah, I think he said it as a bragging point, Messi. I think he was saying it as a bragging point.
Special agent in charge there in Salt Lake City? Yes, July 9th. Remember, about 10 or 11 days before that July 20 date I tell you to keep anchoring on. On July 9th, somebody looks up the old special agent
They're not even in the same country as each other, Messi.
in charge, Matab Sayed. Unless you think that's kind of a name that, well, maybe that's just a particular, hey, I even added the middle initial, Matab Sayed. Again, Israel, again, August 10th. What about the new guy? Who replaced him? Robert Bowles replaced him. Well, let's look up Robert Bowles. Anybody in the world looking at Robert Bowles? Yeah. Our friends in Israel, or an IP address originating in Israel.
Right after he was appointed.
So they took it. Someone with an IP address originating in Israel took a keen interest in the special agent in charge in Utah, and then when that special agent in charge changed in the weeks leading up to the assassination, they took a keen interest in the new guy.
How convenient.
And again, lest you think this is just a name that gets searched all the time, not in D.C. This is the special agent in charge of the Salt Lake City. No one in District of Columbia was interested in it. Israel was. What about Matab Sayed? Any interest in the District of Columbia there? No interest. But Israel took an interest.
So yeah, in Washington D.C., they're not looking up who the chief special agent is in Utah, but they damn sure are looking at it in Israel.
Whatever reason.
Before Charlie's
who
death.
The special agent in charge was. Now, finally, this is not finally, but this is probably, I'm at the scene right now. We're at the scene. We're leading up to it. I was particularly struck by how quickly people gave up on the idea that the question that was asked when Charlie Kirk was assassinated could have anything to do with it. It was like too perfect of a coincidence. They were talking about transgender gun violence. It was a lefty. I think he has a podcast. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. His name's Hunter Kozak. Hunter Kozak.
I mean, Stars, your address wouldn't matter anyways. You're in Norway. He's in Pennsylvania in the U.S. You have a whole ocean separating you guys.
Hunter Kozak goes to the stage. Now, I have heard where he said out of his mouth, he pre-screened this question with Charlie Kirk's team. They were fine with him asking this question. It's not like he caught Charlie Kirk unaware with this question. The team reviewed the question, reviewed the questioner, and determined, yes, you may ask this question live to Charlie Kirk at the American Comeback Tour event in Orem, Utah Valley University, in the UVU courtyard.
I need you to do something for me.
And initially, people came up and said, "Oh, that question has to be related. It's just too convenient." You know, they had a little transgender terms on the bullets, for example. And this guy was living with someone who may or may not be transitioning from male to female, and
Oh, they were, and we know they were.
may or may not wear puppy dog costumes and think he's a dog. Or I don't know what the facts are. Not my culture. Not making fun of it. Just telling you I have limitations on my ability to discuss it. But his name was Hunter Kozak. Kozak. And I thought to myself, actually, someone recommended.
The Japanese weren't trying to get laid, Carnage. The Japanese weren't trying to get laid. They were trying to attack.
This one. I would love to take credit for searching this one, but a friend of mine recommended this one. Lo and behold, our friends in Israel were searching the name Hunter Kozak, or someone with an IP address originating in Israel. We're searching the name Hunter Kozak on 3 August 2025.
You did? Well, what do you want now?
Again? Look at it again. Just I don't want you to lose it because I'm going to switch it over to the District of Columbia in a second. I might even switch it to Utah. I don't know if I've done Utah yet. But on August 3, 2025, Hunter Kozak searched with an IP address originating in Israel. Now let's do the District of Columbia. Anyone within our nation's capital curious
These
about this
watermelons,
guy?
but those watermelons are gone.
Anybody inside the state of Utah curious about this guy? Only after the shooting. Only after the shooting. But our friends on the other side of the world, for some reason, took an interest in this guy. So I pressed
a couple of them, but I'm not going to give you a bunch.
Believe it or not, I'm not.
It's late.
I'm gonna try to wrap this up in an hour today, but I can't guarantee it. Cannot guarantee it. Okay, so let me move
He's going to wrap it up in an hour, but yet this is a 2-hour video.
on from. We've done George Zinn, we've done Tempanoe Regional Hospital, we've done Deidre Amaro, we've done Paul Mason, we've done November 1098 Lima, we've done Matab Sayed, we've done Matab A. Sayed, we've done Robert Bowles, and we've done Hunter Kozak. Now, one could argue all of this is just some strange coincidence.
There you go.
They could. Sorry, that was just good. Oh man, bringing the receipts. I wish these could pick up.
I knew that was coming, Carnage. I knew it.
I do not want any credit for any of this, but I will say this. There's a reason people with bigger mics don't pick this up. Well, there might be more than one reason, but there's at least one reason they don't pick this up.
All right, we're going to go ahead and fast forward to it.
July, of all the surgeons I can find at the Orem branch.
So now he's going to search the surgeon that worked on Charlie.
Of Timpanogos Regional Hospital. And I think, could anyone have looked up any of these people? The first surgeon I could find was a guy named Stephen Nealman. Stephen Nealman. Remember that date, July 20. This is July 18th. This is July 18th. Stephen Nealman. July 18th, 2025. This was that of our friends on the other side of the planet over there. Very curious about the surgeons in Utah, you'll find out. I go to the next one I could find, Robert Patterson. I found a lot, so I added an MD to it. Robert Patterson, MD. July 23 and 24. May have been the only one that was searched twice, 2 days in a row. July 23 and 24, Robert Patterson, MD. Again, I just find online a list of surgeons at Timpanogos.
So we don't know if any of these surgeons particularly were the ones, but these are the surgeons that work in that hospital that Charlie was brought to. And their names are being looked up with an IP address coming out of Israel
I eliminate people
in the weeks of July 20th. That date's going to stick around.
like the breast reconstruction surgeons because I didn't think that was necessary to look up. Actually, I might have looked up one of them. But I found the general surgeons, the emergency surgeons, all the people who minor surgery. I looked them all up. I go to the next one, Lee Trotter. Has anyone looked up Lee Trotter? Again, notice the date. Notice the date. This is right in that July 20 area, that July 20 timeline. Someone with an IP address originating in Israel, looking up Surgeon Lee Trotter, near about that same July 20 time period. Are there other surgeons in the area? Yeah, as a matter of fact, there is. There's a guy named Lee Patterson. So I look up Lee Patterson. Notice the date, July 19th. Somebody with an IP address originating in Israel in the week of July 20, that week on either side of July 20, was very interested in all the people who practice surgery at Timpanogos Regional Hospital in Orem, Utah.
How convenient. How
There was
convenient.
a lot of interest from an IP address originating there. Now, let's just, we talked about the different, let's say someone using a VPN.
And for those that don't know what a VPN is, it is a software that you can use that you can alter your IP address to be somewhere else.
At this point, if I'm the FBI or I'm the Utah State Police, I think this is still a Utah State Police matter, by the way. This didn't cross jurisdictional lines, I don't think. If I'm the Utah State Police, I'm calling Google and saying, I need to know the IP addresses that hit this. I need to know if this belongs to a VPN, does it belong to this? Is it the same IP address that looked up all the different surgeons in my county? Because there's more. By the way, there's a guy named Brian Gill, probably a very talented surgeon. July 22, IP address originating in Israel. What about Richard Rasmussen? I'm sure he's a fine surgeon, a nice guy, probably a pillar of the community. Also searched July 14th, IP address originating in Israel, Richard Rasmussen. Again, if I'm the state police, if I'm the FBI, I have real concerns that my surgeons are being searched within a very narrow time window, like 7 to 10 days of each other. And I want to know, is it the same IP address looking at all of them? Because I want to know who the hell is so curious about my surgeons in my local hospital. If I'm the FBI, I might ask, is this related to an assassination where they rushed the body there and there was a surgeon that declared Charlie Kirk a Superman and claims he found the bullet and then signed the death certificate and there was no autopsy?
They they found the bullet in Charlie Kirk, but they have yet to release an image of that fucking bullet. Because that bullet would identify whether that is, in fact, a 30-06 or something else. Now, I mean, we know it's not a 30-06 because there's no damn way a neck of a human is stopping a 30-06 bullet. It's just not happening. That shit'll shoot through a half-inch thick sheet of steel from 200 yards away. So how the fuck is a neck stopping it?
And people may have been searching these surgeons. What about William Pugh? He's a fine surgeon, I'm sure. July 30th, about 10 days after July 20th, but by July 30th, there's still someone over there still searching surgeons. Now, it's possible there are even more surgeons that I couldn't find. That's possible. There are more surgeons that I couldn't find. There might be dozens of surgeons. I don't know how big of a hospital this is. I don't know how many beds it has. I don't know how many surgeries it does on a normal basis. I don't know how many emergency surgeries it does. So I can't tell if I got them all, but I do know this. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 surgeons at Timpanogos General Hospital, Regional Hospital, and they were all searched by an IP address originating in Israel within about a 2-week period, a couple of months before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I do know that. I know that much. That's a fact, Jack.
It's a fact, Jack.
That's a fact.
What the fuck?
So I key in on this IP address or this could be I guess it could be a VPN. But if it's a VPN, I think the FBI or the state police
Should be looking into it. They should be looking into
I
it.
think the state police or the FBI could go to the VPN and say, whose IP address connected to this? But if it's not a VPN and there's someone in a foreign country searching up all the surgeons in my jurisdiction right before there's a high-profile assassination, I'm very curious what the is going on. Like, very curious. Like, angrily curious what's going on. And I don't care if it was Iran, if it was Russia, if it was China, if it was Afghanistan, if it was New Zealand, if it was Canada. I don't care. I don't care if it's Kansas. I want to know. Just so happened that it was the country that it was Israel. But that could have been anybody. But since we were there looking at surgeons, I figured let's look around the campus. Let's see what else there is. And I watched a zillion videos. I'm going to show you one of them I watched.
All right, so I'm going to now switch to the Candace Owens video because that's now done with the Google searches. He goes on to talk about something else up and through here. We could cover that part of it as well. But it doesn't have as much factual based. He's more asking questions in this section. The Google searches are here. He does have more of those Google searches on his channel as well in different videos. But I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Candace Owens video now. So let me drop this down.
No, but I am positively exhausted. I have been up all night.
All right, hold up. Hide. Replace. Window. This one. Bam. Share. All right, here we go. Let's get into it.
Realizing what we were suddenly on
Hey, he sure was, Carnage. He sure was.
brink of, stumbled into it. I wouldn't even say accidentally. Obviously, this has been
He did have a lot of fascinating pictures on his wall, didn't he?
my obsession to watch Charlie Kirk be executed in front of the world, and then a lot of people lie about it, and a lot of people who were not acting right or grieving right, who were his closest comrades and business partners. And let's be frank, as I get inch closer and closer to discovering the truth, we should recognize that this is pretty dangerous stuff. And my theory now, I feel confident stating that Charlie Kirk was taken out by something much bigger.
You talking about what the description of the channel says? I believe it does say 16 and up. And that's only because 18 is your legal voting age. The 2 years before that is going to help dictate on which way you vote based on what you learn and what you gain for knowledge in those 2 years before. So that's why I have it at 16 instead of 18. If that's what you guys are looking at in the description, I believe, of the channel. I'm not sure.
Then Turning Point USA organization that he was running, certainly much bigger than Tyler Robinson on the low C rooftop, who I don't even think was even stepped foot on a campus that day. And I think another thing that I should mention is just how positively sad it is. We can reflect on how sad it is already that there are so many people in the world who are convinced. They emailed me. I mean, I've received an unbelievable amount, and that's his legacy. So what happened? Why are we here? Why are we live on Friday? I gave up Fridays, but this is so relevant to what's happening, and I wanted to get this information out so that everyone in the world who has been helping me investigate could have the weekend to do research and we can information share. The answer to the centralized intelligence agency, as we have said, is the decentralized intelligence agency. We must decentralize ourselves to plug out of this utterly demonic system. Anyway, what happened yesterday was obviously I did the show and I circled back to the Egyptian military plane. I had simply tweeted about it while I was in Wyoming, obviously recognizing that it was not normal that this Egyptian military plane had departed on the morning of Charlie's assassination. Now, I made the mistake of thinking it had departed in the afternoon, and the reaction to it, this is how you always know the give, is they overreact to something.
So yeah, this is not the same plane that Barron Coleman was talking about in his video, but y'all crazy. 2 months from now, Jesus. All right, get back in the video.
Something, and then the military bots make it a trending story. Like, there's no way this was trending. This guy correcting me on the timing, and he tweets it, and the next thing you know, it's trending. Egyptian plane debunked. It was not debunked. I showed you that yesterday. Okay, thanks to a very brave person, a foreigner actually, who informed me that the people who came in on that plane were not the people that went out on that plane. So where did they go? They were estimating like approximately 18 people were on the plane that came over, and far less were on the way back. Where did these people go? Well, let me tell you something. As you know, because I am relying on you guys for tips, I'm grateful that I have a platform, but I don't exist without you guys. I'm always checking the comments to see if I got something wrong, if I made a mistake, if there's something that I missed. And somebody I just happened to catch gave a live comment right after the show. I was looking at your comments, and he said, "Oh, Candace, that plane we covered, the tail number SUBTT. Just so you know, the year earlier, that plane was in Utah at the same time as Charlie Kirk. In 2024, I was like, oh, that's pretty ironic but that's true. I was like, it's probably not true, except it actually was true. So I started last night and I said, okay, maybe that was a coincidence. Let me actually, since I presented that timeline for you every time I came to America, see if it was always near Charlie Kirk. If it was always near some big turning point event, something was going on with Turning Point. And the answer, you guys, if you thought once was maybe, twice was a coincidence, 3 times we have a conspiracy, we're at about every single time that we could go back on this plane, and we're not done, obviously. There was something happening at Turning Point USA that was neighboring, okay, in the same city. So I'm going to take you through this timeline. This is so shocking to me.
So now, and my question is, could this be the plane that Charlie and them flew from city to city on? I don't know. But I don't think that's what she's getting into.
Color coordinated this timeline. I'm sure there are going to be some errors. Pick them up, Zionists. Go hard. Make it trend. For the rest of us, let me know if there's slight adjustments that need to be made. But I think we've done a pretty thorough job. So I'm going to let you know what you are looking at, okay? Tail number, there's 2 actually Egyptian planes, because then somebody else mentioned to me, hey, Candace, there was another Egyptian plane that left 3 hours after, Egyptian military plane, that is, 3 hours after Charlie was assassinated from Provo, Utah. And that tail number is SUBND. And you should take a look at that. And I thought to myself, okay, I'll take a look at that. Maybe that's where the rest of the passengers went. Maybe that emptied SUBTT left in the morning, and 3 hours after Charlie was assassinated, or maybe it's the next day. 3 days after. Marcus corrected me in my ear. 3 days after Charlie was assassinated, that's when the rest of the Egyptian crew, whoever was on that plane, departed Provo. So we have 2 tail numbers, and they're going to be color coordinated to make it really easy for you. Okay, tail number SUBND. That's a Gulfstream 4. It's about 12 to 6 passengers. And tail number SUBTT, that's going to be our main one. That's our Falcon 7X. Again, holds about 12 to 16 passengers. Now, for those of you who are not jumping around flying on private jets all the time, the tail number essentially is like, the best way to think of it is
the license plate.
Like a public plane will say American Airlines on it, right? in order for systems to know how planes are moving in the sky, they kind of have to give them a license plate in the sky, so to speak, right? So the tail number is a unique license plate that literally is called the tail number because it's on the tail of the plane. Okay. We're going to start with, and I'm going to show you this. I'm showing you this just because 2022, as you can see, I haven't made any notes on this because I haven't gotten back that far. But these are the 4 times that BTT, so if they're both SU, that BTT was here in 2022. That's the furthest that we can go back on flight radar. Now we're going to go into 2023, and I have included notes that I think might be relevant to the story. So in 2023, Charlie Kirk, I went back on his X feed and he is hitting hard on Ukraine. I mean, like he's tweeting out photos of Zelensky half naked because, he used to be an actor. Obviously, he's a homosexual male. He's basically demanding, keep this up the whole time, guys. I want them to be able to look through this. He's basically demanding that we pull out of the Ukrainian war. He's accusing Ukraine and Zelensky of corruption, of financial fraud, of money laundering. You go back and he's just basically declared war on the Ukrainian war, figuratively speaking, okay? And he's not siding on Team Ukraine. He's not pro-Russia, but he's not Team Ukraine. I think that's relevant, obviously, because when you talk about money laundering around Ukraine and Romania, you're actually stepping on the heels of America, right? You're actually, that's not something that you can just say when you run this pro-American organization, given the fact that these people run our government. January 10th, 19th, I'm going to also say that I think this is relevant. Rob
I didn't think you were shushing me.
McCoy hosts the first ever Turning Point USA Faith Pastors Tour of Israel. He's guiding a group of pastors through Jerusalem. On February 20th, I think this might be relevant because the same people that infiltrated or hostilely took over James O'Keefe were involved with Turning Point USA. James O'Keefe was the founder and the president of Project Veritas, and he and Charlie and myself all met at the same time in November. That David Horowitz Freedom Center event that I was telling you about. James O'Keefe was really young, so we all kind of came up in this movement together and have always been very defensive of one another. So on January 20th, there's this like hostile takeover, what appears to the public at least, is a hostile takeover of Project Veritas. James O'Keefe gets pushed out. He's ousted from the board of his own company, and Charlie publicly announces his support for what he perceives, like the rest of the world perceived, was a bit of a hostile takeover. Okay. February 21st, we now have BND. Okay. It flies into St. Louis, Missouri, and it lands at 2:38 p.m. and it's going to stay until May. The blue one you're going to see stays longer when it arrives, and then the yellow one will come behind it. BTT will come behind it. Okay. On February 25th, BTT comes in. And BTT, again, they're both flying from Cairo every time, typically through Paris, and it then lands in St. Louis, Missouri. And this is relevant because on February 27th, this person, who I hadn't heard of before, named Sean Foyt, I believe I'm saying that correctly, Sean Foyt, is announced as the Turning Point USA faith contributor. Now, this guy is in partnership with Rob McCoy still today, to this day at Turning Point USA, doing Turning Point USA faith stuff. And this is also relevant because by all accounts, this guy is a sleaze. And what I mean is that people were coming forward and saying, the money's looking funny with this guy. He's not a true Christian. He's faced accusations of fraud, of embezzlement. I'm painting a picture for you. But to stay on this Sean Foyt thing, is I had to actually look him up. And I saw it on his biography and on Wikipedia, by the way. So I haven't done a deep dive on him by any means. But I was like, I recognize that name. And I recognize that name because many people emailed us after Charlie's assassination, and they thought Sean Foyt was the guy that was standing and cheering USA, USA. And I think he did a video and denied it, but that's the only it's the only way that I was familiar with that name. So look him up on his biography, and it tells us that he was born in Montana. He's the son of a dermatologist. That dermatologist is not named. He's, of course, a Christian Zionist, you guys, that's obvious. But he grew up playing music in a New Apostolic Reformation church, okay? New Apostolic Reformation. Going forward, we're going to term that NAR, N-A-R, okay? and he would record prayers and prophecies that were made and impacted Foyt. It says as he was growing up. Okay, he was a part of. She's like, I'm looking into this. I'm getting into this NAR thing.
Micah.
There's something here. If we start talking about
Chill.
Rob McCoy, something's going on here. So she's going down the figurative NAR rabbit hole. If you don't know who she is, you should follow her. I told her to pin whatever she's learned about NAR to the top of her profile, saying that's Village Crazy Lady. But that's the introduction. So NAR is somehow going to be relevant. Again, we are at an early phase in this investigation. Let's jump back into our timeline here. Okay. So he is announced that he is going to be heading up. Rob McCoy is obviously
Spider-Man.
now the co-chair of TPUSA Faith. He brings on Sean Foyt, presumably, and on February 28th, Sean Foyt it's announced that he's going to be heading up the Kingdom of the Capital Tour. So he becomes the face of this Turning Point USA Faith Tour. So, and of course, the first event that they do, as I just mentioned to you, that plane gets to St. Louis, Missouri, and sure enough, Sean Foyt is there. TPUS Faith is there. They are at the Capitol and they're doing this event. Okay, so interesting. I went, okay, that's kind of interesting. Let's keep going.
So she's got this plane damn near following the TPUSA events around.
Now I'm just going to scroll through this because this is timeline one for myself because it's going to keep building everywhere that Charlie is speaking, everywhere that Charlie is speaking. Let's look at March 24th, 2027. I'll tell you why this is interesting to me. Turning Point USA has their first ever Faith Pastor Summit. I spelled that wrong there. The Faith Pastor Summit, and it's in Nashville, and it's headed by Rob McCoy. And lo and behold, while they're here, there is a trans shooting, a traumatizing trans shooting in which the feds engage in a cover-up regarding. Okay, you remember this shooting because it was at a Christian elementary school. It was a Christian elementary school. It was incredibly traumatizing for all of us that lived here, and then doubly traumatizing, not just because we have kids, but because then we got no answers. They just wanted to hush this. This is just a crazy trans person. Nothing else to see here. Goodbye. Now, what I will say to you is Rob McCoy has got some terrible luck, is what I would say, because he's there when that trans shooting happens. Obviously, he's very close to Charlie Kirk when his shooting happens. He says I was his pastor. But also, I had received a tip that Rob McCoy, who's from Thousand Oaks, which happens to be a very corrupt place, was very involved in a shooting that happened in 2018. When I say involved, I should rephrase that. I don't mean like he shot anybody. What I mean is that he was the nearby pastor of a Thousand Oaks shooting that happened at some bar where a veteran shot up a bar. Skylar, can you pull this up? Because I don't even remember the details. We received an email and they were like, he was very close with the shooter's mom. The shooter was a veteran. They killed 2 Marine vets among some other, it looks like, bystanders at this bar. What bar was it? Something Bar and Grill. I'll look it up in a second if you don't have that quickly. 2018. Give me 1 second, guys. Just want to make sure that we have the facts of when this happened.
Try to get a hope
on April 1st, we have that plane. We're gonna call it the yellow plane for the sake of this timeline. The yellow plane flies from Cairo, always via Paris, to St. Louis again, and it lands in Missouri. And guess what? April 2nd, TPUS Faith, co-chaired by Rob McCoy, kicks off their tour with an event headed by Sean Foy in Jefferson City, Missouri, the very next day while this plane is here. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, April 6th, it leaves and it always goes through Delaware. When it leaves, it goes back to Cairo. Okay, now I am just kind of putting down for you here again other places where Charlie's here, where he is, because I know that this is going to build into my timeline. You know, I'm looking in Sean Foy is in Israel related to some more faith stuff. I don't know if Turning Point sponsors that trip or not. That's why I put a note there. Charlie is speaking in Sacramento on the April 13th. Yellow plane again comes in. This time it flies to Kansas. Cairo to Kansas. And on April 23rd, Sean Foy heads up the TPUSA Faith Kingdom of the Capital Tour event, which happens to be in Topeka, Kansas. So I have a question. How did he get here from Israel? Did he fly into Wichita the day before and then make the very short drive and make his event? I don't know, but I'm putting it in there because once again, we have this plane in here and we've got another TPUSA Faith event that is happening right around the corner. It's about, I think, just under 2 hours to get from Wichita, Kansas to.
There's you could say that, Carnage,
To
an extent.
Topeka, where the TPUSA Faith.
I mean, she did used to be on TV, but I think some of that came from what she did with TPUSA.
Came from the Capitol tour.
What up, Avery?
Continues. Okay. April 3rd, BND is in here does a test flight. I think I might have dropped this blue thing. Oh, yeah, it's been here the whole time. That's right. This plane stays here a long time. So it's been here from February 21st, and then it's going to head out, and it just leaves on May 9th. Okay. That's going to end 2023. Literally every time this plane is here, I can pin a TPUSA Faith event that's happening, which is like some luck, right? February 9th, we're going now into 2024. I guess actually let's start with January. On January 3rd, 2024, Mikey McCoy is promoted to the Chief of Staff.
We'll do this little section here, and then I'm going to skip the video.
Of Turning Point USA. I have the internal email, so that is a fact. He gets the promotion, and now you can see, I guess the McCoys are much more involved in Turning Point USA. I did not know them, so this has to be the year that they got super involved because I'm going to do my last speech for them in June of 2024. Anyways, he gets promoted to Chief of Staff, and then on February 8th, Charlie's campus tour is publicly announced. I'm doing it with him. On February 9th, our plane comes in. Our Egyptian military plane comes in. This time it is headed to Nebraska, and it lands in Nebraska and then flies straight to Lincoln, Nebraska. It lands in Omaha, and then flies straight over to Lincoln, and it stays in Lincoln for a mysterious 5 days. Now I'm racking my brains. I couldn't find anything going on with Turning Point, but I was like, I bet there's something going on in Turning Point in Lincoln, Nebraska, because that's pretty precise location.
I will say, since she was at some of these events, I guess she would know if they flew on this plane. And apparently they did not. But this plane is, in fact, still following TPU, or like it's relatively close by every time TPUSA is having an event.
For this plane to go to. And lo and behold, Turning Point USA on February 11th, while this is going on, starts a chapter in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm not kidding. Here's the post. Now, to be clear, because people will go out and say, oh, they already had events at the University of Nebraska. They've had a regional chapter, which in Turning Point lingo, like if there's not enough interest in a certain area, they will develop these regional chapters, and people in that area who are interested in Turning Point USA will work to make events happen. They did not have a Lincoln specific Nebraska chapter, according to their own Instagram, as you can see, until February 11th. This is a chapter Instagram. I should be clear. This is the UNL, University of Nebraska, Lincoln, and they're saying it's going to be our first weekly meeting. Here it is. And I think you cut off the bottom. Oh, it is on the right side. Starting next week, TPUSA at UNL. It is official. Our first weekly meeting. Okay, February 20th, Nebraska City campus. You got it. You got it. I would like to know, if you are a Turning Point USA insider and you are watching this show, who started that chapter? That is very relevant to my research right now. Who started the Lincoln, Nebraska chapter? Because I can't find that. I've looked through. I've tried to see who was the first person. Typically, I think to start a charter.
You talking about when she did that pretend crazy moment, Messy? I watched that video. And then I watched some weirdo react to it and was like, oh my God, it's so hot. Like, huh? Crazy bitches turn you on? Okay.
Chapter.
Maybe you're not alone.
So there's going to be some students, and maybe you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you can ask around who said, hey, let's start this chapter in Lincoln, Nebraska, all by ourselves. We're not going to be regional anymore. I need to know who that is. Okay. So that happens. And then on February 14th, our plane departs back for Cairo. And this time, BTT departs Cairo, stays in Wilmington for 2 days, and then heads back to Cairo on the 16th. Yeah, okay, so that's February 14th, right? it comes back pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. On March 29th, BTT, or Yellow Plane, departs Egypt again, and it comes back to Wichita, Kansas. It lands at 2:19 p.m. Wichita, Kansas. Guess who was in Kansas that week? I mean, it's just incredible. It is incredible. Charlie Kirk was speaking at the University of Kansas, okay, on April 3rd. So let me know when you get uncomfortable and you realize this is not,
I'm feeling we're gonna be getting some random weird pictures from Toxic in Discord.
not coincidences. Okay, this is a conspiracy. This plane is following Turning Point USA Faith and Charlie Kirk, and or Charlie Kirk, by the way, at those TPUSA Faith events. It's possible Charlie was speaking. I just can't find it. It's very difficult to search Charlie Kirk right now and to go back. So I'm going to continue to build this timeline, but you're getting the picture here. Let's keep going. So yes, that plane comes in here. And then I have here on April 9th that Charlie is in Omaha, Nebraska, speaking at the Lord of Hosts Church. So he's doing TPUSA faith stuff in general. And then we get our blue plane comes in. Our blue plane, remember, is the one that whenever it's here, it's going to sit for a little bit. And it sure does sit for a little bit on April 19th. It goes to Provo. It comes in from Cairo.
Thirsty means you're looking for something. Thirsty means that you're wanting something. Like, man, I gotta have that drink. Man, I'm thirsty. Or if you're thirsting after someone else, it's a term that has multiple meanings.
The
But in that phrase, he's saying you're thirsty for Toxic, as in you're wanting Toxic.
it makes a stop in Salt Lake City and then goes on to Provo. That is April 19th. Okay. Lo and behold,
That's what made me tell you that, Messy. Why you that soda can? That's what made me tell you what I said.
BTT is then going to come in from Cairo
All right, Avery.
via Paris through North Dakota to Provo. The planes are together again. They're meeting up. They're kind of tracking each other. And who's in the area? Who's in Utah at the same time? Of course, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is doing a Salt Lake University event. Sorry, it's not Salt Lake University. It's the University of Utah at Salt Lake City. I think that's correct. So he is doing an event in 2025 here.
All right, skip ahead of it.
We're going to start with just the planes don't come in at all in the beginning. This is me just putting down Charlie's schedule. May 23rd is the first time one of the planes come in, and that is the blue plane. The blue plane sits and it stays for a while. And I'm going to say that to us, when we looked at this, it appeared to be a legitimate maintenance stop, like that they came in because there was just some test flying that was happening around that time. I don't know for certain. Obviously, we're building upon the embezzlement. There are multiple organizations that are binding together to say that he's immoral, he is unethical, that he has shady financial activities, he's misrepresented his ministry activities, ceaseless financial solicitation they accuse him of, intermingled with grand visions, which has led to untold financial gain and a steady stream of unpaid labor from volunteers. Starting to sound a little bit familiar here. And they make statements that he was purportedly using, and I'm going to say this allegedly, I'm reading this from the article, using business credit cards for personal expenses. He diverted donations to personal accounts. He inflated the prices that were paid to vendors. He's using ministry funds to rent his own cabin in Montana for the ministry board meeting. I mean, there's all of these allegations that are coming from him. And by the way,
I haven't unbanned anybody. What do I need to for a second? I don't even have her name anymore. I don't. Hold on. I might have to go look in the settings and to find her name in the band area. Because I don't even have her channel name anymore on there. See if I can figure out how. Settings. Count, there it is. All right, let me let this play while I'm looking.
even people who formerly worked at Turning Point USA say the same thing. Like there's something not right about showing Sean Foyt. Now, despite all of this, and this breaks down the very many properties that they say are owned by him, very expensive properties, by the way. There's always going to be a real estate. There's almost going to be like a real estate theme, and what we're going to discuss later. They're breaking down like this guy owns a ton of properties. He's moving a lot of properties. That's interesting to me. When the money is looking funny and you see that people own a lot of properties, you should be interested. Okay. I'm not making any allegations against him, but I'm going to make some broader allegations that when I started piercing this layer of the Mormon church, I was like, is this a church or is this a real estate empire? Never seen so many real estate transactions in my life. People that were paying cash more than what the property was worth. And I'm going, when I see this much real estate being purchased in cash, I know a thing or two about money laundering. It's a good business to be in, is all I'm saying, right? It's a good business to be in. And I got to be honest, these mega churches are looking a little funny. Okay. They're looking a little funny. What was it? Joel Osteen? Like the plumber was fixing a toilet and found like $1 million in the hole. Do you remember the story? Mega church pastor, Joel Osteen, his church. I think it was, I got to pull it up. If you can find it, Skylar. The plumber's like, hey, I'm here to fix.
I can't figure out how to unban. I don't know where to go in the Discord to do it. And I don't know her channel name on there right now off the top of my head. I'm trying. No. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll say yeah, because I don't know how to look it up. I don't know how to unban people on there. I can't find the section like right now. If I look long enough and hard enough, I might be able to find it.
There's like almost $1 million of cash in one of the walls. And I think Joel Osteen issued a statement and was like, oh, well, we are very surprised to see this. It's very strange. This is in the walls of our church. It's amazing. God has blessed us greatly for supporting Israel. I'm joking. He didn't say that. But I think the excuse that he gave, here it is, the plumber doing repairs, November 10th at the mega church, blah, blah, blah. There was a loose toilet in the wall. We removed the tile and boom, 500 envelopes fell out of the wall. And I was like, oh, wow. And then the plumber contacted maintenance. And Bill Austin's excuse was like, we had some money that was missing at the church. Here it is. No, I don't know. These pastors like tickle me now. It's like, I don't know. That's so crazy. That is so crazy. There you are. There you are, $1 million. I did not see you there. Happens all the time. Rich people problems, rich people problems. Just so much money.
It ain't showing me. It won't bring it up. It won't pull your name up because it's banned, and I don't know how to find it unbanned. I don't know how to find it. The unbanned section on that channel. I got Carnage unbanned, but I think the reason why I was able to unban Carnage is because I still had him in my messages. I didn't delete the messages with him. I deleted like the chat history. Like I deleted the whole connection to hers on there. His was still in my chat box. I deleted her out of my chat box, so I can't even pull it up. I mean, you can try, Stars. I don't think you're gonna be able to. But I have to go find the unbanned section. But hey, Messi, type her name in, tag Toxic in the Discord, and type the @ symbol and then the name she just put on there. And then maybe Toxic can go at her.
maybe it was. To me, when I hear cash,
What up, Lamore? Hey, I mean, that's your opinion. You're more than welcome to it. But I don't know. I think he's dead.
flowing like that, my mind goes to, and we're talking like a lot of these mega churches are always in California or Arizona. And I'm not saying this about Joel Osteen. I'm talking about the broader implications of cash being found in any place. I'm thinking the cartels, right? Like that's where my mind's at. I'm thinking cartel money is flowing through the border and could end up in a closet somewhere. Again, I'm not correlating that to Joel Osteen, but I do think the fact that that money was found there is weird and his excuse makes no sense. I will say that. Now, jumping back into our timeline, where was I just now? We are, this is when things start to get a little spicy for Charlie Kirk, okay? So that's Sean Foyt, that's June 2025. Money's looking funny, according to multiple people and organizations that have worked with him. Mark has made a note. No, that's incorrect, Mark. I checked this 3 times. You're thinking about, you're saying that, sorry. Yeah, that's where we were just at now. Oh, okay. I will bump that. Okay. Mark is saying that the Lincoln chapter was opened. I had that in the wrong date. That was supposed to be in May of 2025. Okay, we'll get back to that. Let me just get through this. Okay. So we have Tucker Carlson then speaks in July 11th of 2025. This is a very big deal. Okay. Very big deal. Tucker Carlson gets on stage at Turning Point USA, and there is a donor panic, an absolute panic. He gives a speech. He calls out Jeffrey Epstein right there. He's calling out Jeffrey Epstein. Dave Smith is speaking. They're talking about Israel being a problem. He's getting cheers from the crowd, right? His audience being like, yeah, no, why are we married to this like nation in the Middle East that happens to be committing a genocide? But he also says things like, people that serve in foreign armies should probably have their citizenship stripped, something along those lines. And he also muses about where Bill Ackman's wealth comes from. And yeah, it's just a speech, which, by the way, Charlie was the one who told him backstage, go hard at Israel, right? He's done. Charlie's done. He just is. That's just the reality, which is why it was crazy. And people were trying to lie about this. I was like, this is lies, will not stand. And he's telling Tucker Carlson to go hard in the paint. Now, I know for a fact that when Tucker came off stage, one donor immediately, a woman who I have not named yet, instantly started yelling at Charlie. Charlie then gets the full donor squeeze. You are not allowed to be anti-Israel. This feels like a good time to mention that the last time that I spoke at Turning Point USA's conference in 2024, there was this random sidebar conversation that I had with
What up, Walt? Messi just trying to help out Toxic.
Tyler Boyer. Tyler Boyer is the king of shady at Turning Point USA. He is the one, like I said, he has hired every person around Charlie. Jokes on
this right here is kind of where the story starts to get interesting, in my opinion, with Candace. So this is really the part that I probably should have played in the beginning. But
if you think Turning Point USA is a Christian organization, it's a Mormon one, okay? And Tyler Boyer said to me backstage, there was something going on with like Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes. I can't recall. This is again 2024. And I said to him, why don't you just have Charlie debate Nick? Like the common sense thing to me is just like have the debate, right? It's not a big, it's like all of this. I think Nick had maybe come actually to the conference with like some people because he was doing that for a little bit. And I was like, why don't you just like debate him? Like, I don't know. I'm like pro conversation. And Tyler said to me, Turning Point USA will just always be pro-Israel. Like we're just never.
They will never have Nick Fuentes on there. Is what she's saying.
Not going to be pro-Israel. Didn't think anything of it at the time, but in retrospect, it's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, what do you mean it will never be anti-Israel? What do you mean it will always be pro-Israel? That's just what we are. We're pro.
Even if Israel fucking does some shady ass shit, you're still gonna stay that way? That's because all their donors are Israel donors.
Israel. What do you mean that's just what we are? You're supposed to be an organization that's dedicated to free speech. And what comes with free speech is the ability to think freely, the ability to process the information that is being spoken to you and to think freely. You care about free markets, which I think actually relies upon free speech to have free markets. I don't even think the markets are free right now. And so I'm just trying to understand this concept that Turning Point is just never going to not be pro-Israel. actually, in retrospect. And so if we fast forward a year later, so Carlson's on the stage and his hype boy, his hype man is Charlie Kirk, and he's like, just hit him hard. And he goes out there and he hits them harder than anything. And suddenly there's an explosion, right? And they're really angry. They are very angry. Josh Hammer is angry. Seth Dillon is angry.
You're going that fast? What do you mean? You were in and out already? I thought that was Toxic's job. Never mind. My bad. Pause. Take it back. I was never there. Did you get into the channel? Did you actually get in there? All right, so yeah, it just does. Messy here, Messy. Remember when I had you timed out on there? Hold on, Messy. All right, so Messy, when you're timed out on there, it pops up like this little black bar because I have her banned. But if I click that little black bar, it brings the message up. And then you can see it. So that's what I meant by I could still see all your messages if I chose to. All right. But that's cool. They got hooked up. They can talk to each other now. Cool. But it seems like Toxic ran away from it already. The last time he commented was a while ago. He was running away. I think he got scared. I think Toxic got scared and ran away. But all right, let's get back into what we were doing.
Be it from them to ever tell the truth about that. These people were going to
No,
lie.
you good.
You
You good, Stars. I'm not stressing it.
Colemen is angry, and they're basically saying, Charlie, this can never happen again, and you have to be pro-Israel. That's kind of the vibes that they're putting down, okay? That happens July 11th, and now our plane is coming back from Egypt. Just 9 days later, it goes through Omaha, Nebraska. At 11:37 a.m., it departs and it heads over to Lincoln, Nebraska, and it stays there for 6 days. I would love to know, and again, anybody who has the ability to pull the files, maybe you just work at the airport. I really would like to know who was on that plane. I think this July 20th date is very important. Very important.
There's that July 20th date again, guys. That July 20th date.
Okay. I think the post TPUSA conference dates are critical to what happened here. Okay. Then Charlie speaks to New York, and after that, he heads up to New York in the Hamptons. And Charlie Kirk himself, described it as an intervention. Seth Dillon is lying through his teeth. Okay. People that were there said Seth Dillon was rowdy and pushing Charlie and his views on Israel. Charlie himself just.
Messi was trying to be nice to Toxic. By doing so, he then had to also be nice to Stars for a moment.
Described it as an intervention that was staged.
That's my explanation of it.
Okay. And maybe they were going to see if they could fix them. You know how every episode of Intervention ends. They ask you if you want to go to rehab because they love you. Okay. They read the letters. Charlie, I remember you. You were so brave. You were so brave. And you loved Israel. And you understood that your job is to be a good little goy and do what we say. Oh, I miss you. Do you want to go to rehab? But that phone call wasn't coming in from mom or dad. It was coming in.
Bibi Netanyahu, like her little iteration of Bibi Netanyahu was kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of hilarious.
Bibi Netanyahu, and that's kind of terrifying, actually. Bibi Netanyahu is like pretending to be your friend. Hey, come to Israel. How do we know that happened? Because Bibi told us himself. So this is not in dispute, right? Bibi raced out of the gate to establish Charlie Kirk as like Israel's top goy. And he said probably too much. He said he called him 2 weeks ago and he invited him to Israel. And the part that he left out was Charlie declined. So when he got the phone call to go to figurative rehab, Charlie said, no, I'm good, actually. Bibi offered to fund.
No, Messi was nice when he was interested in that other chick at first, until that all fell apart.
turning point to the next level. Okay. Andrew Colbeck should be able to confirm that. Yes or no? Don't dance around it. I don't like with dancing him and Alex said, oh, this, blah, blah. It's a yes. Okay. Take it to the next level. With what money, though, actually? It is relevant and it is true that Charlie did not know where the money was coming from. That's why he established Doge. Okay. He did not know where the money was coming from or where it was going to. That sounds to me like a very sophisticated money laundering operation could have been happening under his nose. Now, I'm not a forensic accountant. I am saying this so that those of you who are forensic accountants can go do what you do and figure out for Charlie, establish the internet Doge. Okay. Where was the money coming from and where was it going to? And then my Turning Point insiders tell me the money was indeed looking funny. Okay. It was just a lot of money coming in really fast and going out really fast. And I can tell you what it sounds like. We don't have any facts on that. We only have just a sense of Charlie's emotion at the time. He says, no, baby, I don't know maybe where this money's coming from. I'm good. I'm not going to go to rehab in Israel. And I'm not going to take your money. Charlie says, no. Okay. And what happens next? After the Hamptons
Yeah, then they take him on a Hamptons trip.
retreat is that and I think this is a BTT. I didn't put this on August 17th. I missed this.
Messy. Really? She said she had a cat. I didn't hear that. I missed that, Messy. I missed that.
BTT comes in. Is that BTT? Stays for 6 days. Yeah, because it went back to Cairo. BTT, that's our yellow plane, comes into Nebraska and again does that trip into Lincoln immediately. And again, I think these trips are very important. Okay. Turning Point USA insiders. I know some of you guys are becoming more and more courageous. What was going on in Nebraska? What's going on at the Lincoln chapter? How did the Lincoln chapter come together? I think you were making a note that was supposed to be in 2025. The Lincoln chapter came together. Is that what you were saying, Mark? Okay, so I'll edit that in our updated timeline so that you guys that are watching this can update that in your timeline. What is going on in Lincoln, Nebraska? I feel like something very relevant is happening here. And
I feel like it.
Of course, the final time
Messi just turned 19 last week.
that plane comes in, and before Charlie's assassination, rather, it comes on September 4th. It heads to Minot, North Dakota, and then it heads directly there to Provo, and it lands in Provo on September 4th at 12:46, and it was a full plane. Okay, that's what we can say. It was a full plane, according to a person overseas who had intimate knowledge, and I think the information is solid. And it was not a full plane when it departs the morning that Charlie is assassinated. So, working with that, what's going on here? What's going on here? We then know that 3 days.
Is that the real Walt? Is that the real Walt? I figured you would have already knew Messi's age. So it's like, goddamn, boy, I thought you would. Y'all been around each other long enough. I would have thought you would have already knew his age. Well,
Later, bringing that back up on September 13th, our blue plane, which it trails, is going to leave through Canada as it always does.
what'd you say, Stars? You're not faithful? Damn.
It's going to leave Provo. It's going to go through Canada, through Paris, and back home to Cairo.
I'm messing with you, Walt. I'm messing with you.
Days following Charlie Kirk's assassination. Did that plane perhaps have the rest of the people that were left behind? What is going on? I want to know. One more thing I want to mention to you. And Skylar, I actually didn't tell you. I want to make sure that you pull up just what I want you. Okay, under the notes from me, Charlie, because this is stuff that we're working on. I mean, Charlie, goodness. The notes from me, Skylar, it says 2 jets that landed from Arizona into Provo because we started tracking those jets. I think the planes are going to tell us a story. If you could just copy that and from there up into the 9/11, yeah, that'd be great so that they can see that. We started then looking at the planes that day, and something that struck us as actually, Charlie, Charlie, goodness, Skylar, if you could just delete the name of the agent is the only
Dang. Candace is as bad as I am with saying Messi and Noah's name backwards. She'd be talking about Charlie to her friend Skylar.
thing I would delete because it's not relevant.
Or her editor.
I mean, it's obviously public information, but I don't want this person to get inundated. Anyway, so there were two planes that we could find that right after Charlie gets shot, scrambled, and from Scottsdale, Arizona. We're trying to figure out okay, who came in, and something that caught us, something that we think is interesting, is that the tail number 940JD, right, had a day where they went up from Scottsdale in the morning. And I think it was, if you want to bring that up, Mark, at 7 o'clock in the morning they left. I want to pull it up. That's N40JD. I want to say it leaves at 7 o'clock in the morning. Oh, no, that's the other tail number. Just kidding. The G5 plane. Okay, switch that. This is why he needs to bring this in. Tail number N102DZ. We'll have it up in a second. N102DZ we're interested in because at 7:12 a.m. in the morning in Scottsdale, so that's local time in Scottsdale.
Oh, they should have pulled up the whole flight radar.
To Salt Lake City. So instantly I was like, oh, this could be Charlie's plane. But then, why would Charlie fly into Salt Lake City? No, he would fly into Provo, obviously, because Salt Lake City is 60 miles away. You don't fly private so that you can then take a 60-mile car, unless there's some reason that you would have to, like the airport was closed. And I don't think that's true. Maybe it is. You guys can let me know. But this plane flew from Scottsdale and then landed in Salt Lake City at 9:23 a.m. local time. And then Charlie gets shot at 12:23, and this plane scrambles. And it leaves Salt Lake City and it heads to Scottsdale at 1 o'clock p.m. So that's pretty quick, but coming from Salt Lake City doesn't make sense to me. So I'm thinking this had on somebody, but why did they go to Salt Lake City? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay. And so that G5 plane then gets back to Scottsdale at 1 p.m. local time, right? Because they're going to gain time going backwards. And then they are only on the ground for 15 minutes. They turn around and they go right back to Scottsdale. It's possible this plane picked up Erica. It's possible this plane picked up. There's a lot of people that were coming in. I think there's I don't know Mikey McCoy's wife's name. I think she said she was there. Mikey McCoy was there. I don't know who was on this plane. But I'm wondering about that first trip, not even the second trip. It makes sense that you obviously go pick up people. We know people were racing there. Everyone has told the story 1,000 times. But why was this plane in Salt Lake City in the first place? That's what I'm interested in, I guess, if that makes sense to you guys. And that is what we have been working on. All right, we are going to take a break here quickly, and then we'll be right back. All right, you guys, I'm going to take a brief pause here to tell you guys about Preborn. You guys know that I love them and the work that they're doing because I think we all recognize in this moment that silence is not kindness. Silence is consent. And right now, the greatest silence is surrounded about the topic of abortion. Lives are lost before they
Messy. I can't.
allow ourselves defenders of life. We should act like we're asking you guys to need to fight back with action. Truth and love. Just for $8. That's what today, which was found to a medicine crisis and considering abortion. To make ourselves receive like this from inside of her. It's her. The truth that our culture is not. Species this round, 20 for commission, you can be unapologetic for life.
We back. We back. All right. Sorry, guys. Yeah. My phone died. My phone died. God damn it, Carnage. I'm gonna have to pin that comment. See? God damn it. Come on now. I mean, literally. Damn it up. Get them to stop. Stop the flow of them coming over here and messing my shit up. All right. All right, so let's get back into this. I don't even know where it kicked off for you, but there was a commercial in there, so I'm kind of glad it kicked off in that spot. I don't know, but we'll start it from right where I'm at here, and I'm gonna go back with it. Let's go. Yeah, me either, Messi.
That is compelling to me. And
Me either, Messi. I just hate evil people.
something that came, and again, this is opinion. I didn't cover it because it's opinion, but a lot of people felt at Turning Point USA, and I do mean a lot of people, as in the wonderful people that work for the organization that are not at the top, right? And they felt that Mikey McCoy
Top of the
was
morning
kind
to you.
of being positioned to take over for Charlie Kirk. And I never again covered it because, feelings are not facts. But given the picture that we now have of his father and what his father is involved in, and the fact that Charlie was kind of veering from what I think was a predetermined course for Turning Point USA, I have a lot of questions. Also, another person who wrote us was telling me the story about Tyler Boyer's involvement in like Maricopa County politics in general. Like, what did he do before in Arizona? And yeah, it's just the kind of stories again that he said he approached him several times about embezzlement. Not Charlie, Tyler was hooking up with young interns, young male interns, or young male workers. And he didn't even care. He's like, I will go on record because all of this happened, and I had the proof that all of this happened. And everybody knows about Tyler Boyer at Turning Point USA. It's like an absurdity. But this is the person that is putting people into places of power at Turning Point USA. Like he's just involved. And something that was interesting is also how many Russian speakers there are. I was telling you, like UVU, there's just a lot of Russians and people who study Soviet studies. Even the president of UVU majored in Soviet studies. Tyler Boyer majored in Soviet studies. He's a fluent Russian speaker. He spent years. And I'm going to assume when I say they speak Russian, that they're probably more tied to Ukraine. Like kind of coming full circle on that. Because a lot of times people wrongly assume that people who speak Russian are Russian. And actually, Ukrainians, until they like made it a law, they had to stop speaking Russian quite recently, were Russian speakers, right?
Messi, hey, they all lie to us. The government lies to us, period. As long as there is a deep state, a CIA, and an occupancy from another country in our government, the lies will forever be there. No matter who our president is. It don't even matter. Our president is a damn patsy for the IDF. No matter who the fuck they are, because 90, it was either 93 or 97 of the state Senate seats are funded by AIPAC. It was either 3 or 7 state Senate seats that are not funded by AIPAC and Israel. And those few damn near get ostracized. A lot of times, ones that don't take AIPAC money, they get removed from that seat. And there are some that have been removed from their seat because they wouldn't take the AIPAC funding. It's a different point. JFK and the president before him, Noah, the president before him tried to warn the American people about this. He tried to. He made a public service announcement warning. You can go look it up. It was recorded. You can go look it up. There was the president was addressing the people, and he tried to give a warning about this. He said it's going to get out of hand. And it has. It's been 60 plus years, 70 plus years, but it is. And it has for the entirety of that time. And it's gotten progressively worse. And that is where the division in the American people is originated from as well. the people in America are being divided by the government. That's just period. Some people listen, and it's really based on who you listen to and what you believe, because some of them are just, more of a sheep type mind, and they'll follow the herd, and they'll listen to these mainstream platforms push this rhetoric, this narrative, this propaganda, and they believe it and they run with it. And a lot of times they don't even go do research to look to see if it's accurate. They listen to it and they follow it blindly. And what I say to that is that just tells me that's a lot of people that don't even have their own opinion. If you're copying and pasting someone else's opinion and saying that it's yours, you don't have an opinion. You're recycling somebody else's opinion. You didn't do research. You didn't look it up. You don't know what the facts are on it. You don't know if it's true or if it's made up. You don't know who's funding that narrative that you're listening and being aware of. You don't know where that's coming from. If you're just gonna recycle someone else's opinion, to me, you don't have an opinion.
Because it's Russia and it's their home. So it's interesting to consider that there are a lot of, I think even Mikey McCoy's wife might be
Sugar will do that to you, stars.
Ukrainian. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But that's something that I think is interesting as well, or could be interesting. It might not be interesting, but definitely on the Tyler Boyer front, it's very interesting.
That's why you should eat things of sugar in moderation.
That he was involved with orphanages in the Ukraine, posted about helping Russian speaking orphans or whatever it is years ago. Like I'm talking like 10 years ago. I just don't like it. I don't like it. The vibes don't feel right. What was going on? Why was Turning Point, what was their campus doing? Why are people at Turning Point saying they don't know where the money's coming from? Why is no one seem to be grieving him in the right way? Why does it feel to me like a hostile takeover of a company? That's how I personally feel. Okay. That's how I feel. I feel this is a hostile takeover of a company. And I feel that the company became bigger than Charlie because Charlie was too ambitious and Charlie trusted people and he trusted that people were in it for the right reasons. And what I have learned in politics is people are hardly.
Well, if you barely eat candy, a lesser amount of it will give you the effect of somebody that eats a lot of candy eating a ton of candy and getting hyper off of it. Sugar works, just as anything else. You can build a tolerance to it. So if you have a very low tolerance to sugar, it ain't gonna take much sugar to give you that little burst of energy.
Ever in it for the right reasons. Truly, if you are getting into politics, you think you're going to meet good people, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. In fact, if you have a lot of
12 in the afternoon is what I'm assuming she means by that. So yes.
Friends in politics, I probably
which technically is 12 a.m., right? In the afternoon, it's 12 a.m., right? And then it turns 1 p.m. She might be homeschooled. Oh, or yeah, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's true.
Already know that I can't trust you.
You mean today? You mean today is Sunday?
Because I know what it takes to keep friends in politics.
It should already be Sunday for you in Norway.
Friends of Charlie Kirk. Look what they're doing. Kash Patel. Charlie had him on his show. Kash Patel should be the FBI director. He fought for that. I thought Kash Patel was acting, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I always get it mixed up.
33 hours. Wink, wink. Freemasons. Wink, wink, wink. Oh, Tyler Robinson's file adds up to 33. Oh, the Freemason Lodge in St. George or in Utah is number 33. It's like, we get it.
True.
This is assassination at a very high level, and they do communicate with numerology. And this
Oh my
sounds
God.
fucking bad. It's probably because you're not in my book club. But it is just, to me, the most sinister and sickening thing that these people can lay their heads on the pillow at night and they were just going to keep going. Okay. I feel a lot is adding up and that more people need to look into Turning Point Faith. They need to look into NAR. Again, I would follow Village Crazy Lady on X. She's fantastic at research, and she has been keeping them on their toes with research. And that is the area that she wants to go down. I can only chase so many rabbits. And I think what we have an understanding of is an apparatus that was about anything but faith. Okay. I think actually, when I now look at the picture and I'm learning more about Rob McCoy and knowing that he was the co-chair in 2024, or maybe in 2023, of Turning Point USA, they believe, and this is why the Christian Zionism thing becomes so important, that they can hijack our emotions and tell us that it's our biblical duty to support the state of Israel, because I think the state of Israel is probably involved in what is happening at the border,
Aren't
in
they
what is
always?
happening overseas. It is definitively involved in all these wars. I mean, everywhere
Aren't they always involved?
you look, Israel pops up. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Congo. They'll be like, well, look at what the Christians being slaughtered in Congo. Oopsies, Dan Gertler, diamond thing. How are they number one in the diamond trade? They don't live in a place with diamonds that grow. So, like, I mean, what are we even talking about? Like, what are we talking about with this nation? What are we talking about? Charlie was a Christian Zionist because he believed that that was true. And I actually believe it is a perversion of scripture. And I am begging you all, those of you who go to these mega churches, those of you who are evangelical, who follow these evangelical influencers, you are probably noticing about now that they are mum on the topic of Charlie Kirk. They want to move on. They want to let it be known that it's just a trans shooter. Not one of them is standing up and going, no, 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 no. I spiritually feel that something is wrong. We all feel that something is spiritually wrong. And yet these people are trying to tell you that there's nothing to see here. That needs to be your wake up call. If there is
Who are they being funded by? Follow their money.
going to be a turning point, it is not going to be the one that they expected. Okay, I sense that there will be a turning point, but it is not going to be the one that they're banking on, where a bunch of Christians are sold slop and are told that it is their God duty to support the nation of Israel, while looking away from the fact that they're acting real weird in the hours after Charlie's assassination, doing way too much. Man is cartwheeling to tell you they had nothing to do with it. They are asking you to set aside your instinct, your gut instinct, your God instinct. You recognize something is wrong. That's why you're watching this show. You are recognizing that the people around Charlie are not acting in the way that they should be acting, that their emotionality is not meeting the moment of violence that we all witnessed. Instead, they're turning on me. They're making videos about me for investigating. They're lying to you about where Charlie was
Shroom, Kurtisha caught his first band in here today.
on his faith
Waiting for more accounts to come through to get it too.
journey. That's hush hush. The Catholic thing must stay hush hush. Why? It's all kind of adding up, right? They're attacking Tucker Carlson because he's attacking Christian Zionism. They're angry at Charlie because it's looking like he might get off the Christian Zionist reservation, because that's what it is. Okay, that's a plantation. And what they are mining is your emotion. What they are mining is your belief in God. And there's no question in my mind. It is corrupt, but it is also dangerous. It's dangerously corrupt. And I think that Charlie learned this lesson the hard way. I'm appreciative to all of you guys who are sending me emails. You're worried about my safety. Please stop sending those. Okay, I understand what I'm doing. I have read my messages over and over again with Charlie, ones that I have not even revealed. And this to me feels like a Christ mission, to wake up the world and make them aware of what snake it is that has wrapped around all of the nations. And it does so in the name of God. In the name of God, Christian Zionists are telling you to support a nation, okay, that has mass murdered children. You can watch the videos. They're telling you to do this because it is your biblical duty. When are you going to wake up?
God wasn't talking about current day Israel in the Bible. And with the covenant with Abraham, man, they done broke that damn covenant. You think that Israel today, if God showed up in Israel, if Jesus showed up in Israel today, do you think that they would even accept him? I don't think that they would accept him. Nor do I think that he would accept them.
Charlie Kirk, he was the number one Zionist for a very long time, Christian Zionist for a very long time. Look at how
Charlie was a Zionist, Messi.
they are treating him now that he is dead. They are
Aren't if I'm not mistaken, a Zionist just means that you have like ties to Israel as an American. If I'm not mistaken, I may have to go look up that term, but I believe it's like an American, pretty much like an American Jew of sorts. That's what I'm saying. The Israel from Abraham and the covenant with Jesus, that shit's long overdue and been broken. They broke that. They were supposed to follow his ways. There were conditions on when Jesus said that he would be the protector over Abraham and his descendants as long as they followed the righteous path and believed in Jesus. Like, man, that's just done faltered.
finding on his name.
So it is not your biblical duty to be a representative for Israel. That's not what any Bible is telling you to do at this point.
You have to wake up, okay? It is my mission to share this information with you to get you to wake up because I think Charlie was right. I think there was something about me and him together, okay, that was.
Yeah, but it's a pretty much, yeah. So there's American Zionists and there's Israel Zionists, or there could be Zionists in other countries as well. But so when that's what they mean by when they say Christian, because he was a Christian first, but then a Zionist second, because of his Christian beliefs. Which I'm pretty sure Charlie's wife is a Catholic, or maybe not. I think Candace is the Catholic. I don't know. She explains it in some of her videos.
Like just meant to happen, you know, not in the way that some of you guys are interpreting that. It was literally my kid brother, but I mean, like there was a higher calling to his assassination, which he knew was coming. He knew he was going to die. He knew, he said from the time he started Turning Point USA, that his life was going to be short, and he knew that I would be the one to fight for him. He knew that it was going to be me that was going to be the one that would fight for him. He knew that I would be his David, and it is that relationship that we described yesterday, the David and the Jonathan. He was my friend, okay? I watched him work, but more than anything else, I laughed with him. He was my friend. And you are not meant spiritually to watch your friend catch a bullet in the throat. And you've got to.
Do you know that there was like Timu witches that supposedly had a curse on Charlie or a hex on Charlie that day that he also got murdered? There were some Timu ass witches. It was online, it was publicized. She made a video about it as well. His wife, Charlie's wife, literally had an exorcism damn near done on him before that event to try to free him of those demons.
Things after that happens that you can do, okay? You can run from it.
That's facts, Nemo. That's facts.
I don't want to end up like him. Or you can fight like hell to find out who did it to him. And I have chosen option 2. Right? I'm going to take some of your comments after we get back from this brief break.
Let me get past the commercial here. Her support, her commercials, I don't get funded by. So I'm not going to promote her promotions. All right.
Jump to a dinner reservation. Somebody made a comment, and thank you for that. Charlie actually did fly into Salt Lake City, so that was his plane. So that does make sense. They would have had information. I was wondering why he was in Salt Lake City, but apparently he had an interview with Restaurantology Summit. So you can ignore that tidbit. Comments from Stars saying, making sure I send a super chat today since the Zionists want to call you vermin for having so many supporters of truth. We love you, Candace. God bless you and your family, your whole team. Thank you so much. Jill writes, I'm so disappointed in my pastor, Jack Hibbs. He was so close with Charlie, and yet he hasn't said nearly enough, in my opinion. Well,
I think Candace is. There's another religion that's. I
So
should
continues,
probably
Christian
say
Zionist
this.
loyalty to Jews and Israel seems to have replaced loyalty to God, the church, and the truth. Yeah, well, look, he's another big pastor. And I can tell you about Jack Hibbs. He was another person that.
But Nemo, I will say her shit was never dying. I mean, she jumped on YouTube and in moments from going from national TV to YouTube, moments had millions of followers. So before Charlie Kirk passed away, she was garnering the same amount of content numbers as she is now. It maybe has a spike, but and they were best friends. They were really close friends to the point where if you know anything about Brandon Tatum, you know someone that Carnage don't like. He goes by Officer Tatum on YouTube. When he joined TP USA, he thought that Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk were actually in a relationship because they were always so close. And then they were at each other's weddings. Like they've always been good friends. And Charlie was always being told to abandon Candace Owens, to abandon Tucker Carlson by people from Israel. They didn't want him to be friends with her or Tucker because of their message.
PragerU was pushing to me, wanted me to interview him. I may have even interviewed him. I can't remember, but they were like, Pastor Jack Hibbs, Pastor Jack Hibbs.
Nemo, she gonna talk about it until she figures it out. I'm sure. She doesn't want this to. I'm gonna tell you right now, if this Tyler Robinson is murdered in jail, if he dies before the trial, if this man somehow dies in custody before the trial, you know it ain't just Israel involved at that point. You know the U.S. government at that point is also involved. They want the conspiracy. They want this to be another JFK where it doesn't get solved. But we know what happened to JFK. And we will know what happened to Charlie.
And now I look at that and I'm thinking that's part of an operation. That's likely part of an operation. All of these people that they wanted me to platform, Lila Rose, Jack Hibbs, Tim Ballard.
People that said, all right, Nemo, I'm going to tell you it like this. The people that tell you that Charlie Kirk was racist or spreaded hate are people that never listened to his message. They heard a tidbit of something, took it out of context, and ran with it. People that say he spreaded hate and racism did not even listen to his fucking message. They did not listen to his message. You can ask them. Go tell them to tell you something else that he said. They'll find one specific moment, and that's what they'll stand on. They won't be able to tell you nothing else about him because they never watched him.
Look back on that stuff and I'm reflecting and I realized that
Toxic disappeared.
And they were directing me to do things. I never really questioned things they were directing me to do until today. So Jack Hibbs was also a part of like the Turning Point USA Faith events, and I am looking at Turning Point USA Faith.
All right, Avery.
Especially because like he doesn't even care about the allegations against Sean Foyt. And what are they doing? It doesn't matter. We're just going to keep on continuing working with him. Rob McCoy. Alpaca Renee writes, God bless you, Candace. You're a warrior for such a time as this. Thank you for all of the hours of digging to find the truth. I pray. Jeremiah 29:11 over you and your family. Thank you. Voiceless writes, I'd love to see how Google Trends line up with these flights, names of people who died in these shooters, etc. Well, as it turns out, one of those planes, I forgot to mention, and it's the second one, the blue plane, I believe, was Googled by Israel. The tail number for that plane was Googled by Israel on September 8th, 2 days before the assassination. So take from that what you will. Tim Morgan writes, Candace, check out Sean Foy and the allegations of financial ministry mismanagement online. And he and Pastor McCoy are planning a courageous Christianity tour to honor Charlie. I am really begging for the real Christians in this world to research these men, to watch this episode over and over again, to consider what I am telling you, that there has definitively been an infiltration and Christian Zionists are at the helm of it. And I understand I'm at war now with all of them. That's fine. Okay. I understood that I was at war the moment Charlie caught the bullet. Okay. I get that. What could follow? It's got to be war, right? It's either total submission or war. And I'm not going to submit to these demons. Anyways, you guys, I'm sorry if I missed your comment. Norman Finkelstein, the interview with him, we bumped that because I felt like this was so important to get out because we need to information share. That interview is going to release at 7 p.m. Eastern, so in about 30 minutes if you stick around. It's an amazing interview, and it's a timely interview given what I am saying to you about Christian Zionism. You need to wake up to what has happened in Gaza and what has actually been going on, and the scales may fall from your eyes as quickly as they fell from mine. On the topic of Israel, there's no justification. There definitively cannot be any godly justification for what they have done and what they have always done in Gaza. It's not new. It's not starting October 7th. Okay. This has been going on since they stole their land at gunpoint. It has been an effective Holocaust since 1948. By the legal definition of a Holocaust, which Norm Finkelstein will explain better than I do. And once you recognize the people defending that, beyond this, you will start to look at them as possessed by some sort of a demon. And typically that demon is just money. Okay. They just want the money. And the Bible is explicit about that, right? You can't have both. And like I said, God's chosen people do not endorse that. In fact, only Satan chosen people could. Anyways, we will see you guys on Monday.
All right. So there is those two videos. There was a third video that I was trying so fucking hard to find. I'm going to try one more time to try and find it. That is a long video though, so and I would have to go find. It's hard. I was trying to find the video so that I could find certain sections of it that I could show you. Let me drop this down. Let me put this here or here. Looks like here's better. Yeah, this one's better. All right, we'll put the chat up on the screen. All right. So, I'm going to try to find it real quick. Well, see, check the history here. All right, full screen of my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, folks. Do not forget to hit that like button. All right, let me go my channel. Let me go to history. Let me see if that video is on this channel. If it is, it would make so much more sense. New information. I found it. All right. So I found it. This is a 5-hour video. We will not be doing the entire thing. Let me go ahead and put this over here. Let me try to get it situated here. 1 second, guys. We'll probably do what? Another 15 minutes of this. And then we will probably end the stream there. And all right. Let me pull it up. Bam, bam. Bam, bam. All right, there's that. Now, all right. Find a section of this video. Unmute.
Yo. That
All right.
conspiracy theories.
All right.
That's what all the fun is.
So that was Candace Owens in that last video. If y'all want, go check out Candace Owens. Obviously on Candace Owens on YouTube. She owns the rights to that video. We didn't watch it in its entirety, but if you want to watch it in its entirety, go check out her page. Follow her. Give her a sub. I'm gonna pull this video up now. Give me just a second. Let's see if I can quickly find these talking points that I had on this video here. All right, so hide chat overlay. Pull it up, pull it up. All right, I'm gonna put it back like this, or actually like this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this. This is, let me tell you the name of this channel. This is Valhalla VFT. This guy's name is Nate. He also has another co-host in this. I cannot think of his name at the top of my head. His name is Ann, I believe. I don't know. But he'll introduce him here in a second. They both have YouTube channels. If y'all want to go check them out, go check them out. I obviously also do not own the rights to this video. Go ahead and play this.
Let's get. Yeah, there's Ian. All right, there.
And so his name is Ann.
Who the hell is that? Check him out.
Yeah, I know. Theory. Like, I'm not like that at all, man. I'm just trying to use my perspective and my experience from what I did, from that I can hopefully provide some value to.
Now I know Nate used to be in. He used to do work for the government. I can't remember the type of role he has. I believe he may say it in this video. I don't know if I'm gonna say it or not, or we'll see that part or not. But I'm gonna try to skip to the places that I know that there was. And I wish he had some time markers on his video or some chapters on his video that I could easily scroll through it. There ain't, so it's going to be a little bit harder for me to find the sections that I'm looking for. But this is also talking about the case with Charlie Kirk as well.
Everybody else, as we're trying to figure this out. Like, I'm not a guy. I'm watching your stuff on the Google searches and all this, and I'm watching this. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck.
This is actually the video that I learned about Barron Colemen from. Like, this is where I learned of who Barron Colemen was, the first video that we watched.
Any of this means, but it's interesting, right? but when it comes to, like, hey, if you're going to carry out an assassination and do, I don't know, action at target, well, or trauma medicine or ballistics, well, a Green Beret might be pretty good at that. So that's where I try to stay in my lane. So
he was a Green Beret at one time, and then he worked for the government.
That's why I like this collab, is we have a wide range of sort of investigation that we've done together, not together, but like holistically over everything, right?
I'm not sure if it was FBI or not, but he was in some type of agency for the government.
The people involved. And so this is going to be a good one. Where do we want to start, man? Where do we want to start? I know that you went over it with your audience with the Google searches. If we at some point in the episode for my audience,
I bet we'll touch on it a little bit. I've still got all those tabs open, so we'll probably talk through it a bit.
So I watched that. I'm like, okay. Every time I'm like, no, there's no bad faith going on. I watch that and I'm like, oh, fuck, dude.
Cool. And so what I think might be the most, the best thing to do, sort of, is to sort of speed run the whole thing.
Can we talk about that first?
Yeah, I popped my screen share in there for you, and feel free to pause us and jump us into super chats at any time, and we'll just kind of weave our.
So right here, they're gonna show you the route of the suspected shooter, Tyler Robinson. Good night, love you. That he took before and after the shooting.
Way through this. So if you were in my stream just a minute ago, we went through some of this, and we will just very briefly speed run the pieces of this, because you do kind of need the map to see the geography, and you need the footage to remind us of what we're talking about and to kind of compare person to person. And I started with this footage that didn't come out the day of, but actually a little later, that where we won't have audio for anyone sharing here.
I think
They're gonna show different videos that you may or may not have seen of Tyler Robinson walking up the road, where they have different clips of him from different, whether they're door cameras or whatever.
I've got a second one ready. That's yeah, okay. That's what I was just going to pull up, but you have a better version of it.
Yeah, this is a version that Gray Hughes actually got from the homeowner themselves. But this is the earliest in the day that we have eyes on maroon shirt guy, right? Maroon shirt.
They're calling him Tyler Robinson. Maroon shirt guy is what they're referring to him as here.
Blue backpack, right? Clearly, it's not a.
I think everybody's dipped.
Yeah.
Everybody dipped.
Believe that is the same person as Tyler Robinson, and that guy.
You know what? Actually, I think I'm gonna save this video for Wednesday. I think I'm going to save this for Wednesday, and I will do a video on this Wednesday, because this is actually, like I said, this is a 5-hour video. It kind of deserves its own little video add to this little series we're doing now that I've started a Charlie Kirk series, or started back into a Charlie Kirk series. I really need to get shit underhand and start just one series instead of bounce from like a series and then do debates and then back to that series, because we kind of started on the Charlie Kirk series and then kind of jumped to some debates, and then now we're kind of back at the Charlie Kirk. So my next video I will probably be doing on this video that they're sharing here. There's a lot of information in here that's very good and very useful, very factual, and very punctual at that as well. So it's definitely going to be worth its own video. So I'm not going to go ahead and get into this tonight. I'm just going to save it for Wednesday, and we will talk about that video on Wednesday. I'm actually going to go ahead and let this be the end of the clip tonight. Hopefully y'all have a blessed night. Hopefully y'all stay great. Man, I love all y'all. Don't forget to hit those like buttons and tune in tomorrow for NFL football. All right. Peace.